Evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time of day it is, everybody, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and Coffee Stream episode 447. It is time for the Coffee Stream. Oh, yes, let's have a nice discussion. So, today is voting day here in wonderful Canada. We are we this is really interesting. Like this is just weird. I'm going to send a couple of links out. Maybe some people will be able to come and join. So today it is voting day. And not only is it voting day, but apparently, according to Elections Canada, there is an unprecedented amount of mail-in and advanced ballots. So it's going to be impossible for us to know our election results tonight or tomorrow morning. Like usual! It's fucking disgusting. I think this is the first time in history that this will be a thing. Functional, would you like to come and... I know it's Canadian Wednesday on Wednesday, but... Would you like to come hang out? We can do this this interesting discussion, because they're, like you said, they're not doing any polls in schools like they usually do. I did go vote at a church that's near our place, but it's very we watched this happen in the States, you guys. Why are we doing this now here? I just sent you the link. Come on whenever you're able. Here I am on a simple bus ride to my polling station, wondering if I should even bother. You know what? I voted. And you know, like, even though it took me until this morning to actually make a decision on who to vote for, but I still that's true. We don't vote for the individual, we vote for the MP. That's true. That is very true. Oh, you're gonna spoil your ballot, Costin? Yeah, I think Pincalo's in the same boat. Honey, if you want, I sent you a link too I texted you a link if you have your headset with you, if you want to jump on like the longer part of your drive. But yeah, this is it's really, like, the fact that we're gonna have to wait probably until Friday to know the results. The Liberals, now we have to deal with a lot of people going, you voted for Trudeau. Yeah. That's true. Yay, a day off. Sweet. Oh, hi. Love your channel. Your Marley Burke videos are awesome. Also, who are you voting for? Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I thank you for saying so. I went purple. I went all the way purple. I was having trouble between, I was going blue or purple or blue or purple or blue or purple. Well, I went PPC. And the only reason I went PPC is because I just don't like O'Toole as a leader. And I don't know anything. Like, I've done a little bit of looking into the PPC MP, and he doesn't seem like too bad of a guy. I don't know anything about the conservative person in this riding. I sent my I oh, your candidate's terrible. Oh, Costin, that sucks. That really sucks. Yeah, there's if the conservatives had had a different leader, I probably would have gone blue, but like I also sent that CNIB's like We Want to Work campaign. I sent a letter directly to Patrick Doucette. So like that, I hope that Patrick can at least do something for if they win, if he wins, which I highly doubt that he will, because we live in a pretty multicultural area. So I have a feeling that our riding will probably stay liberal, or at least go NDP maybe. Can Canadian government needs an overhaul. Was it accessible for you? Oh, actually, this time it was accessible for me. It was amazing. So you in the past, when I would go vote, my husband Pincalo would have to fill out a specific authorizer form um, to go back into the voting booth and help me like line up my ballot and shit. Oh shit! I'm sorry, the thing didn't boop at me.
That's okay. I just got here.
Oh, okay.
In actually looking at I'm at Elections Canada
Oh,
website.
okay.
Just put in my thing, and it's saying, why can't I? I mean, it's saying go vote here, which is in contradiction to the two voter. Remember, I got two
Yeah,
voter
you
cards.
did. Yeah.
In contradiction to that, so maybe how do they know that I'm disabled? Because the first thing it says is this site meets 15 accessibility criteria. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to get there. Oh no, it is the same place that's like 10 kilometers away. And somebody had the gall to say, "Oh, just walk it, bro."
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Even an
Okay.
able-bodied person shouldn't have to walk freaking an hour to go vote. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean,
That's
I
just,
have to, and then I'd have to walk back.
yeah. That's not voting should not be that. It should be an easy, convenient, accessible thing. Like today, when I voted today, they actually handed me a brailled list of of the candidates and their names and their party, and then they have a new board that has both braille and large print, like raised tactile print numbers on it,
Mm-hmm.
and they clip the ballot into the board. Like when you get to the booth, they actually clip the ballot in for you, and they hand you the tablet and the master list, so that you don't have to worry about lining up your ballot or anything. It's already clipped into the stencil for you, and then you read your master list in braille and fill out the circle of whatever person you want to vote for. So I didn't have to have anybody fill out the special authorizer form that authorizes them to go and help me vote or anything like that. It was pretty awesome. It was actually freaking accessible, which thank God. Because before, Pincalo used to have to fill out this like specific form that was like, yes, I'm going to help this disabled person vote, and no, I'm not going to you know, ruin their ballot and all this craziness. 10 kilometers is like 6 or 7 miles. Yeah, I think Functional's polling station is like 5 or 6 kilometers away, I think is what you said,
No,
Functional.
it's like 10 kilometers.
10? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So
I
that's
just I
two
just
hours.
punched it into the Uber and they were like it's 9.8 kilometers away.
That's like a 2 hour walk. Holy shit.
And for me that would be like
That
6 hours one way
yeah, that a
just to get there.
2 hour walk when when you're like walking at a pretty good clip without a cane and breathing issues. You know, like that's um and then that's probably what, $15 each way for Uber? 15 or $20 each way.
Yeah, about 50.
So either a ridiculous amount of time to go and walk to it or money you don't have to go and vote. They fucked yours up. You had to write shit out. Oh. Too bad timing wasn't going to work better. We could crack crisscross, but sadly I still have a whole bunch of rushes. Oh god. You still have to go to North York? Oh shit, dude.
Who has to?
Pincalo.
Come pick me up. I'm in North York.
That's what he was. Oh, you are in North York? I think that's what he was saying. Too bad he didn't have more time because he's got all these rushes.
Of course he does. It's election day. You got to keep the plebs busy so they can't go vote.
Right? And then, of course, Elections Canada, like magically this year, even though we've had, you know, decades of advanced polling and mail in ballot, all of a sudden this year we're not going to know our results tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
It's convenient, isn't it? Yeah, Elwyn just messaged me. She's like, she can't get to the polls either.
Oh, really?
I.
That's crap.
From why don't you just walk it, bro, or why don't you just do the advance polls on your regular outings? It's like what part of disabled do you not understand?
Yeah.
You know, it's a very large and analogous amalgam. Fuck, I keep forgetting the word. It's a very vague term which can mean a whole bunch of things, and specifically with me means mobility. Mobility is a huge issue. That means my quote unquote regular outings are I get in a cab, I get out of a cab, I walk into a store, I walk out of a store, I walk into a cab, and I go back home.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and cabs are just as expensive, if not more expensive, than Uber.
Well, yeah. When I say cab, I mean like cabs or Uber or
Yeah.
one of the you know, some kind of transportation that isn't public transport, because public transport is it's worse than walking for me.
Public
No, it's
transport is the
it's
devil.
the shitty conditions of, and Pincalo can attest to this. Toronto streets are in shit condition. And
Oh,
when you're in a
God.
bus, they have such piss poor what are those things called? Shocks.
Yeah.
Suspension, that's it. Where you feel even the smallest little bumps.
Oh,
If
yeah.
I'm sitting there on a bus going up and down and bouncing back and forth, like my condition just gets set off. So I'm literally in a torture chamber. Can't handle
First
it.
time I've seen your stream. Who's the guy? Okay, so there are 2 new people here on the channel today. So this is Dr. Functional. He is a guest of mine that I often have on here.
Fellow knucklehead.
He is also a fellow Canadian. We do a lot of Canadian coverage here during the week, and we also do Star Trek stuff on the weekends.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is one of the few people. I have a couple of people that I have on my streams. So this is one of them. You'll also meet somebody named Skeptalk and Pincalo. Pincalo.
Why are you
is my
doxing
husband.
me, Costin?
So yeah, it's just I don't understand, like, and I've noticed something else too. I've noticed that particular, like, I know it happens on both sides of the aisle, but I've really noticed that on the left side, if you criticize a party, like if you criticize the platform of the NDP, for example, not any one person, not the character of Jagmeet Singh, nothing, just the party, right? People will come after your character and your intelligence and your morality when you simply bring up a platform point. And it's like, really? Tell me you have no argument without telling me you have no argument. Like, I come up with a cogent thing of why, I don't agree with this party, and all you can do is tell me I don't know anything, and that I'm just, some like conservative shill, and it's like, what? Like, when did, like, I know politics has always been a popularity contest, but, like, when did it become almost like telling people what band you like and then you being, like, ridiculed to out of the room? Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, what do you mean you like Nickelback? Ha, you stupid. It's the same thing. What do you mean the NDP has a bad idea, you idiot? Like, it's like, why are we insulting people when they're bringing up cogent arguments? I don't, like, there was this woman, who popped up on my For You page on TikTok, who was telling another Canadian they weren't Canadian because they simply said that the Liberals and the NDP were basically two of the same. And this person went straight to, you're not a real Canadian. You're no better than an American. All you're doing is spewing American bullshit rhetoric. Try being Canadian for a second. And it's like, that's not necessary. And you wonder why there's so much division. And you wonder why there's so much, like, why votes are being split. It's because people who normally would vote for a party, even if they're not quite sure about the ideas, when they go to express that they're not quite sure about certain ideas, other people who would vote for that party just shit all over them. So then, as a natural human reaction, you go, you know what, fuck you. I'm specifically gonna go vote for the person who's antithetical to you now. It's ridiculous. I won't be going to a restaurant for the foreseeable future, says Costin. Yeah. And the Conservatives are doing that too, Costin. You're absolutely right. It's happening on both sides. It's happening, like, oh, you're going to vote for, Conservatives instead of the PPC. Oh, you're a fucking blah, fuck you. It's not, when did Canada used to be I'm proud of my right to vote, but I'm not going to, like, Canadians used to just say, I voted, and that's all you need to know. Do you know what I mean? It never used to be, who did you vote for? Do you know what I mean? Like, it never used to be that way. When I was a kid, and I asked my parents who they voted for, I actually got in shit.
Yeah. I got told none of your business.
My dad was like, "That's not your business. It's who I voted for was who I voted for. That's not your business.
And,
you don't ask that question."
My father would say, next time if you want to talk about the options before the election, I'll be happy to have that conversation with you. My sisters as well, but once it happened, and it was forgotten about. It was, you go, you do your civic duty, and you go on with your business, and you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And we've lost, several issues like that as far as, that sort of personal civic duty, that privacy of life. Like, your life is private.
Yeah.
If somebody chooses to share aspects of their life with you, that you should feel privileged, and you glean a sense of, hey, this person confides in me.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only person I would ever tell who I voted for would be Elwyn.
Yeah.
Because we often talk about politics in private.
Yeah.
In who we would vote for, what the parties or the local representatives stand for. Mostly because I'm very well informed of the political cast. Yeah. And she gleans stuff here and there, but she's not as up to date. So she'll ask me questions more like, oh, what do you think about this policy or this person's platform? Not, oh, who should I vote for? Yeah. It's not that kind of situation.
No, that's what Pink Hollow and I do. Exactly. Like, I'm probably the only person I would come right out and be like, well, I voted this way, right? It would be Pink Hollow. Like, because, like, I'm not going to, run up and down the street shouting who I voted for. And for me, it's the same way as I was raised, you don't ask who you voted for, and you don't ask how much money somebody makes. Mm-hmm. You know what that's just how I was raised.
And I'll amend something else onto that, because the society, you don't ask what type of people somebody sleeps with. Mm. The gay question, the straight or whatever question. You don't ask that kind of these kinds of personal questions. Footy, yes. Politicians are scum. They're lizard people here to subjugate the human race.
Yep. I see my orientation and mobility instructor who teaches me like different routes and stuff. She goes, you know so much about politics. You're so good at all that. You should go into politics. And I'm like, no. I
think I told you I am making that sort of attempt, right?
Oh yeah, are you?
Yeah, city council. I really shouldn't be talking about it, but I'm vying for a seat on
city council is one thing. Like,
well, you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
I'm starting locally, and we'll see where that goes. One other thing I wanted to share with you and in the chat was when I woke up this morning and I opened my front door to my apartment building, there was a flyer attached to my door and to all my neighbors' doors. To vote for the Liberal candidate, you go to this polling station and you check off his name. And it's like, wait, what? How is this legal? First of all, you're flyering in a private residence, which is not legal.
That was because when we lived in an apartment building, we never had people like in the
building
not legal. Knocking on doors and shit.
But the super and the staff were cleaning the hallways and stuff, so the front door is open to the building. So I guess they just walked in. Which, obviously it's not breaking and entering or anything, severe
shady as
criminal
fuck,
like that. But it's shady as fuck. Like to plaster everybody's doors by this is the candidate you should vote for at this location. It's like,
when we lived in our apartment building, like they had flyers in the lobby, like for everybody, right? Like the people, like I guess the candidates would leave like a bunch of flyers in the lobby for people to take, right? But it wasn't like a specific party got into the building and just wandered around putting flyers on people's doors. Like that was never a thing that happened. That's crazy.
Footy, I don't agree with that. I think that politics has a unique way to make people's personal ethics suspect, and that they sometimes I'm talking about people with good intentions, people with integrity who do get into politics, that they either get swept up in the corruption of it all, or they have to make certain concessions to put some of their ethics on hold or forget about them entirely to do that. But that being said, there are still some people with some levels of integrity. And I mean, you can look at my avatar. It's pretty self-explanatory who I support in this election, the PPC.
Yeah. Because
I feel that of all the big candidates, the party platforms and such on that larger scale, that they're the only ones with even a modicum of integrity. I think that the rest of them are absolute trash. All the candidates are absolute trash.
Jaeger Pony says apparently they're illegally allowed to enter buildings now to canvass for parties, or so my concierge tells me.
Canvass. They're allowed to canvass. They're allowed to knock on doors. They are not allowed to plaster your door with propaganda posters.
Costin says all the flyers he got were in his mailbox. Yeah, that's how we got them. Like when we were in a building,
That's how I've got them up until today. But today, voting day, to have them plastered again.
They're that desperate, huh?
On your door is...
The Liberals are that desperate, huh? Please, God,
that's the thing. I live in a very liberal riding. Like you, it's a riding that I would be very surprised if it flipped.
Yeah.
Now, that's on the federal level. On the provincial level, yes, we helped to vote in Doug Ford.
Yeah.
Because there was such a vehement backlash towards what's her name, the librarian, Wynne, because she was just downright evil. She was instituting forcing the education system to institute curriculum that sexualized children.
Yeah,
we're not talking sexual education. No. We're talking about actual sexualization of children. And liberal, conservative didn't matter. Everybody was like, this is going too far. And then also pissing away vast amounts of money on
the gas plant scandal.
Yeah, lots of, and selling our nuclear
nuclear power, yeah.
Because it used to be publicly owned. It used to be a utility that was publicly owned, gave us tax breaks and energy costs of energy breaks, because we were partial owners. Like we owned, 0.001% of the company, but that didn't matter because it was vastly there was no benefit to selling the electrical grid to a private company other than they got kickbacks for it.
Yeah. Yeah, like there were things in that curriculum, like they wanted to teach like actual, they wanted to talk about like sex acts and stuff like that, and it was like, yeah, that's not necessary. You don't need to teach kids that. Like, I don't care whether they turn out to be gay or straight. You don't need to teach kids sexual like acts. You know what I mean? Like that's
literally teaching children 5-6 years old about sexual acts.
Yeah.
That is not kosher with a lot of people.
No, like I honestly, like, I'm kind of in the similar boat as my mom. Like when the forms came home saying, we're going to be learning, sexual education, parents just letting blah, blah, blah. My mom was like, I want you to tell me what they teach you, because I don't want them. I'm really concerned that they're going to teach you like really wrong things. Like, and even back in 99, she was like, I want you to tell me what they tell you, because like,
Mine was very good, actually. Mine was very matter of fact. This is what's going to be happening to your bodies. This is what's going to be happening to the boys. They're going to be becoming men. This is what's going to be happening to girls. They're going to be turning into women. The only time that there was a little bit of a concern was when they split the boys and the girls, because they wanted to teach the girls about things like periods and very specific nitty-gritty biological stuff. And I took exception to that, because I'm like, well, no, half of the people out there are women, and I want to know what's going on with them. I want to know why all of a sudden
I think
these things happen. And well, if you opt in, if you as the student or the parent, you should be able to say, no, I want this child to be able to opt into the other gender's
like, I want my
education.
boys to know how female body works.
Yeah, and it's not sexual. It's just part of the development process, because, again, I come from a family of having 3 sisters.
Yeah, like
I come from a race where half of the people out there are women. I'm a heterosexual male. I wanted to be educated on what my future partners are going to be going through.
Yeah.
But they never let me.
And that makes sense.
Thankfully, here in Ontario, BP, we had Sue Johansson, who educated a few generations about sex the right way.
Yes.
Sexuality and development of people the right way. And would, even when she got troll questions on her show, would handle them in great faith.
Yep.
Very happy to answer, really dumb questions like, what's going to happen to my pee-pee? And then she would, kind of have a chuckle, but then answer it like how you should, how a sex educator should. And I think putting this pressure onto teachers and not specific educators who deal with that stuff specific was also to our detriment. A gym teacher does not have the credentials to teach me about sex.
Yep.
Especially one with 3 failed marriages. Anyway.
And Piccolo makes a good point. He says, now look at all the stuff we're going through with your sister. Yeah. And then he says, it's never about the immediate problem. The liberals are always playing the long game. Yep. But yeah, my sister she's decided that we don't support anything that she does, and she's preemptively disowned us because she basically was like, call me they them or fuck off. And apparently last night frickin' Piccolo found she just made a Twitch channel, and she's got herself on her Twitch channel with a guy's name with the pronouns he, him, but with her face on there. And she thinks she's gonna be a Minecraft streamer. Meanwhile, she's dumb enough to have her full name, age, and location on every single social media profile she has, and doesn't understand how insane Minecraft people can get. It's like, okay, you have fun with that. So I thought we'd have a little laugh. I found a Polyev video that is it's a little bit, it's not super old, but it's just, I think it's apt because it's, it's titled why we're actually having this election. So I figured it would be a little bit of an apt video. It's only 1 minute and 58 seconds. So it's not super long, but I find it amusing that we literally watched, and I'm going to say this with all the carefulness I can because I don't want my channel to go away. We watched incredibly suspicious goings-on happen in the last United States election. And Elections Canada, I guess, decided that they wanted in on that. So, I don't understand. I think there's only been one other time in federal voting history where we had to wait more than overnight for the results. And I think we only had to wait an extra day. And I think that was one of the Chrétien elections. Is my sister a blonde? No, she's not. She's just... My sister has had nothing bad happen to her in her life and is now thinking that she has to be the victim of something. So she's making things up as she goes along. Her mean sister doesn't like her or support her, and yeah. So, we're going to quickly put this back to the beginning, and I'm going to share the screen. So yeah, it's only 1 minute and 58 seconds. Let's just put this back to the beginning. Yeah, and I think if, it's not going to be an if. I think when the Conservatives come in second place, I have a very good feeling that they are going to call for a leadership convention and they're going to ask O'Toole to step down. I really think that they're going to ask O'Toole to step down after this. What do you think, Functional? Do you think there's going to be a leadership convention in the Conservative Party after this?
I don't think so.
You don't? You think they're going to stick with him?
Because I don't think that there's been, even if they don't win a number of seats to get a majority, maybe if they don't get the complete minority, but I don't think that the public perception, as far as within the Conservative camp, is that he's a weak leader. It might happen a little bit whiles down the road if they don't gain any traction.
Yeah.
If they stagnate or if they do well this time around, I think that they'll stay for at least a little while. But that's been our issue with their leadership since he was nominated from the start, is that he's a weak leader. He's got no. I mean, at this point, it's LibCon or ConLib. Who are you voting for?
Yeah.
They're the same damn party. They want the same damn things.
And I find, like, he asks, like, when he's in Parliament, right, and he's in question period, he does ask some very good questions. But the problem is he doesn't keep that strength when he gets in front of, like a press corps.
Mm-hmm.
Or, or he's, held, his feet are held to the fire by some opposition. He caves, and that's what we don't need in that. So this man here, I still think, should lead the party. This Pierre Poilievre, I think he should be the leader of the Conservative Party, hands down. He's very charismatic. He's a good speaker. He doesn't flip flop on things. I don't know. I think Pierre Poilievre should be a good would. Oh,
I wish leader. he would get the leadership.
So this is called "Want to Know the Real Reason Trudeau Called This Election?"
Well, I think we're starting to find out why this election was called. Just yesterday, Trudeau refused to rule out tax increases on the middle class.
Yep.
Point blank asked, refused to answer. That's why he needed the election. Because the one thing he can't do with the minority government that he could do with the majority is raise your taxes. We can't believe anything they say about money. He said the carbon tax would never go over $50. Now they say it'll go up to $170.
Yep.
He said the budget would balance itself in just 3 years. And even before COVID, that timeline was pushed back by decades. He said the deficit would never be better than $10 billion. It was $30 billion before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. The Liberals will raise your taxes if they are given the chance. You can't believe anything they say because, again, Mr. Roy just contradicted his own leader. He just said that Mr. Roy just said vaccines will not be mandatory in public service. He said you'll be asked to get a vaccine, and if you don't, you could work from home or you could be accommodated. So they changed their positions on vaccines. They changed their positions on deficits, and be assured that after the election, if God forbid they're reelected, when they no longer need your vote, but still need your money, they will raise your taxes. Conservatives will get spending back to normal, fund our programs efficiently, phase out the deficit over 10 years so that we can lower the tax burden on working families and make life more affordable for hardworking people. Thank you.
So this is why I like him, because he actually puts out, like, okay, this is what our plan is. This is how many years that it's going to take. Like, it's crazy. They have to raise the taxes in order to refill the coffers from the Harper government that the Trudeau government spent. Yeah. I love how Trudeau, he goes, we got nothing from the Harper government. We started, with nothing after the Harper government. We had a surplus when Harper left. We had a surplus. Now we are, like, drowning in debt. And it's just the amount of bullshit that Trudeau and Singh have spouted that is easily fucking Googled. Like, Singh's assertion that it was the NDP who created the current healthcare system that we have in Canada. Like, we all know Lester B. Pearson did that. What are you talking about? What? Like, it's so easy to learn, like, to Google that. And these people count on the fact that your average Canadian is just too jaded and too busy just to look for that. And then there are the diehard followers of these parties that will not take anything. They'll just take whatever is said as gospel. Oh, true. Or Singh said the NDP created the current healthcare system? Oh, it must be true. So, like, and then there's, Trudeau, there's a big pause. There's a clip that I found where a reporter is asking Trudeau, if you win, what's your plan? Do you have a plan for working with the parties at all? Like any party, whatever it may be. Do you have a plan? And Trudeau just stops and pauses for a good 5 seconds. Like, there's a long dead silence. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, and you can hear the smirk. You don't even have to see his face. You can hear it in his voice when he goes, I'm going to be honest for a second. I mean, right. I've been honest this whole time, but I'm just going to be honest right now. And that's exactly what he said. That is a quote. I'm going to be honest for a second. Well, I've been honest for this whole time, but let me be honest for a second. Uh-huh. And he's giggling.
And he's busy listening to the earpieces.
Yeah. That's literally what he's doing. And the fact that there are enough people that think that he's helping. How can anyone think that he's still a good thing for us? I don't get it.
Head up ass condition.
I guess.
People, again, like I had an interaction with a friend's elderly relative in trying to talk about, current issues. Mm-hmm. And, I just simply asked, like, so where do you get your information from? Oh, I watch CTV.
Oh, God.
And, oh, that's it. I just trust them. And I'm like, so you're woefully misinformed and ignorant because you don't read or consume any information other than one news outlet, and you're calling me wrong on all these things where I can source you actual studies, medical papers, drug trials, these types of things, and you're the one. Like, I mean, that's the type of people we're dealing with here.
Yeah. It really, and the willingness on either side when you bring up a cogent point to just attack your character instead of like bringing up their own point of refutation. It's just, you disagree with me? Oh, you are automatically a horrible human being with no morals and intelligence. Mm-hmm. It's like, really? Like, how can we find, like, I don't understand. We used to be a country that, even though you may have disagreed with each other on things, we still managed to come together on important things. And now we're just as divided and hate-filled as the Democrats versus the Republicans.
Because our elites see what's going on down there, see how effective it is for their camps and coffers, and they've started, the last 10 years or so, been using that here. Look at the language when Trudeau first started campaigning for office. Was that divisive, partisan, and downright bigoted language. Well, why is your cabinet half female? Oh, because it's 2015.
Yeah,
like, that's not an answer. We're
not.
genuinely curious. What are these people's qualifications? Because it's something that is now out of the norm. Politics is typically very male oriented because that's what typically men like to do. Men like to get into politics. Women typically do not. We're not saying they can't or they shouldn't be in those positions because they're women. We just want to know what their qualifications are as far as education or infrastructure or whatever other departments that they are a part of. When you see something out of the norm, it would just be like, oh, well, why all of a sudden is your entire cabinet white?
Yeah.
When typically there's 20% brown representation. That would be okay. It's just something that's out of the norm, and the questions are being asked. If it's well within the norm, then those types of questions generally don't get asked.
Yeah.
We still ask, well, what are these people's qualifications? We still want to know what the finance minister's qualifications are. We still want to know what Chrystia Freeland's qualifications are, or lack thereof.
And what's bothering me is that people nowadays put sexuality, race, religion, sexual orientation, gender in amongst qualifications.
Yeah, immutable
like,
characteristics
no,
that
those are
when
not
you and I were growing up were
qualifications.
never a consideration.
Yeah.
Does not matter what they look like, who they sleep with, what giggly bits they have between their legs, or what skin color. What are their platforms? What are they going to do? What are they promising? What are they saying? How are they acting? What is their history? That's all we cared about. And now we definitely were in a post, they call it colloquially a post-racial society, which today I garner to meaning post-immutable characteristic society. But we've come back full circle to basically people screaming for segregation based on these immutable characteristics. And it's disgusting and it's worrisome. That's one of the big reasons why I've been making that sort of like inclining to try to get into politics, because I want to be a part of the system that stops that curbs that. And yeah, you know what? I probably wouldn't get voted for on any sort of high office level, because I would say things like, fuck you for asking me the question of why my cabinet is
exactly.
doesn't have any Indian people or Chinese people or whatever. Like, I found the best people suited for the job who wanted to be part of my cabinet. Go fuck yourself. Like, I would totally be.
I would be kicked out of the House of Commons so fast. It would be like, because apparently because you're not supposed to name people. I'd be like, hey, Trudeau, shut the fuck up. Excuse me, blind press. We would remind the honorable member that foul language and calling of the person's name is forbidden in Parliament. Get fucked.
I'd be like, yeah, the honorable Fuhrer, party leader of the opposition.
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, kindly go fuck yourself. Oh my god, that's what I said to my orientation instructor. I'm like, I'm here to call out the politicians. I am not a politician. Mm-hmm. That is not what I am here for. I got a robocall from the team for the Liberals, says Costin.
Again, that's something that was banned here, robocalls.
It wasn't it from because of the last time?
Well, that's why they went they doubled down on the legality of it because it was the big liberal scandal. But if they're still doing it, that's illegal.
Sora! Hey, Sora!
Sora, where? Oh, hi, Sora. Good morning.
I thought that was illegal on election day. So did I, Costin.
Yeah, canvassing promotions that are within, I don't know, like 100 meters of a polling station, these kinds of things. Go door to door robocalls on election day. That's not kosher. And I mean, who are you going to complain to? Who do you complain to about these things? When even now, I'm still trying to access Elections Canada's website, which I'm constantly getting 404 errors because it's probably so busy.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to. I've been calling. I've been emailing them saying, look, the polling station. Now, the fact that you put the polling station almost 10 kilometers away is now a very clear and present barrier to me exercising my given rights of voting. What do I do? There are polling stations just around the corner from me.
Yeah.
I can't go to them because I'm not assigned to them. My friend who's out on the street, he does a lot of this footwork for me. He's going around photographing these places. He's got one right outside of his apartment, but he's got to go, I think he's got to go 12 kilometers. He's able-bodied, so, I mean, he's just miffed that he now has to take 2 buses to get to his polling station when there's literally one 50 feet away from his front door.
Thankfully, I didn't have to. Mine was like a 10-minute walk. Thankfully.
Good.
Which was, yeah.
But you would think in the largest city of Canada, these things again, which normally would be within a stone's throw. There are 3 libraries, 2 schools, and as I said before, yes, take the polling stations out of the old folks' homes.
Yeah.
That was fine. I don't mind that I can't literally walk around the corner to get to my polling station, but there are 3 libraries and 2 schools within a stone's throw that I could easily go to, that I could easily exercise my right to vote. But instead they have to send it to, the polling station is at an old Future Shop location.
Oh God.
It was a massive store, but now it's been sitting there vacant for the longest time. And they decided to use that because of COVID or whatever. But it still doesn't make any sense to me. And again, people are saying, "Oh, well, you have the option to do the pre-voting, the early voting," and I'm like, well, "No, I haven't because I haven't been able to get in touch with anyone from Elections Canada."
Yeah,
this is the disconnect that these people have. They think, oh, well, you can just call some. No, you can't just call someone. Have you ever tried calling any kind of government institution before or getting an answer from them?
I have to get my Canada Revenue Agency account reset because I forgot my login credentials. Do you know why I haven't called them? Because I don't feel like sitting on hold for 3 hours just to have a 5-minute conversation where they have to mail me a new password. They still mail you a fucking pin to reset your password. They can't just do it electronically. You gotta call. You gotta wait 3 hours on hold just to tell them, hey, I need you to mail me a fucking pin so I can relog into my account. And then they're like, okay, that'll be there in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, really? And then freaking Elections Canada sent me something about accessible voting in the mail. They sent me a CD, because everybody plays CDs still all the time.
Yeah, you were telling me. Nobody has optical drives these days.
And the envelope doesn't even have, like, there's no... It's just completely in print. So I just got this, like, random CD that, had I not had, Pinkalo around, I would have had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
And that's their version of accessible, like, providing information on accessible voting. I advanced voted about a 20-minute walk away, says Sora.
That that would be preferable to
20-minute walk is not too bad. I mean, it would still be hard for somebody like you, functional, but it's better than freaking an hour and a half.
I mean, and that's kind of the big thing for me is 20 minutes for able-bodied. Okay, maybe 40 minutes for me.
Yeah.
But that's 40 minutes one way, 40 minutes the other way, and the longer I have to walk, the more at danger I am of falling or tripping or physically injuring myself.
Yeah. And the fun thing is when you go to the polling station, they try to get your phone number now for contact tracing.
What?
Yeah.
No.
They don't. You can deny it though. Like when I walked up, they're like, "Can I get your first name and your phone number?" I'm like, "My first name's on my voting card. You can't have my phone number." And they're like, "It's for contact tracing," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have the exposure shit on my phone. You can't have my phone number." They're like, "Okay." I'm like, "Yeah, you're damn right. It's okay." You fucking
shouldn't be asking for that shit to begin with.
I'm here to vote. Fuck off. Let's see. We have the tools, but dinosaur thinking is holding us back, says Pincalo. Yep. Something with all that security in place for Service Canada, but they still won't put voting online. Yep. During lockdown, I was on hold for 4 hours for something for CERB, and they hung up on me. Oh my god. It kept disconnecting on you for the rest of the day. Oh my god, Sora. I would...
Yeah. That happens with the CRA a lot. I mean, well, a lot. Again, there's no accountability to these government institutions.
Yeah.
I can't contact my local representative because they don't care, first of all. Second of all, they don't deal with these things.
No.
Even if they cared, they couldn't take this to anywhere to do anything about it.
No. And this is our... And it feels so frustrating because this was... Like, usually I'm excited about voting. But this election just pissed me off.
Yeah, it caused me a bit of undue stress because I'm trying to figure out how to exercise, because again, the situation is very different from what's the norm, and it's something that I'm still coming to grips with, having to travel certain distances for these types of things. Luckily, other things in my life, like where I go to get groceries, which is mostly delivery, but there's stuff within walking range. And Elwyn and I are planning on moving very soon. These are things that we're taking into great consideration now, as opposed to before, where it was like, when a little bit more able-bodied, sure, things could be a little bit further, not that big of a deal. Now we're looking for places where we don't even have to take a cab to get to the grocery store, get to the corner store, those kinds of things that would literally be within a short walking distance for us, even though we have certain conditions, which would mean that when winter happens, sure, we might still go back to our old, we'll take a cab or something because of the conditions of the road. But I mean, that's one extreme to the other. Like the same thing would happen in the dead of summer if it's too hot out. But the norm, the median of what would be accessible is a very clear and present concern.
Yeah,
and for things like this it shouldn't be this hard. You get your card, or in my case, cards, because I'm multiple people apparently, in the mail. You take it to a local polling station, show ID that this is you. Yep, done.
Yep.
Write your check marks, leave. Done. It should not be this hard. I'm looking at live footage right now of people lined up blocks away to get into these polling stations.
That, honestly, like, part of me,
And it's only going to get worse.
part of me is glad, like, I'm happy that so many people are lined up to vote, but I'm not happy that they've made it so that there has to be these long, like, they should have figured out a different way to provide the same amount of polling stations.
I would assume that should I go there'd be a long lineup that I could walk to the front and say, "Excuse me, I have medical condition. I can't be standing for too long. Can I cut the line?" They would probably accommodate me.
I would call ahead.
My fear,
Just
well,
to
that's,
make
but
sure.
yeah, see, that's the thing. My fear is that they would be like, "No, we can't do that."
I would call ahead and be like, okay, I am coming.
trying to call ahead for 2 weeks.
Oh god.
They say on the card. Here, got my card right here. They say, where's the thing? Hold on, bear with me 1 second. Language or sign interpreter. Here, wheelchair accessible. Call this number to ensure this site meets your needs. I've called that number 4 times last week. Didn't get an answer. I called this morning. It's a busy tone.
Oh, of course.
So I mean, like, this is what I'm saying is that this is actual. You want to know what actual voter suppression looks like? That's what this is.
Yeah.
Because and it isn't a truism, but it is a statistical interest that older people tend to vote a certain way. They tend to be more conservative in their voting.
Yep.
That doesn't mean they're voting for a specific party or anything, but they should just. And who are the mass majority of people who require special accommodation? But the elderly.
Yep.
Not all elderly are infirm or have special accommodations, but typically we get older, we get a little bit slower, we need assistive devices, these kinds of things. And I'm not old, but I get lumped into that category because it is a group of people who need special considerations when we're talking things like mobility, blah, blah, blah. So it seems like it's tinfoil hat time. It does seem like a concentrated effort to do better at the polls for certain other parties.
Yeah. No, it totally does. And like I'm really like, I think part of the reason why I'm so happy though is because it was accessible, and I was really worried that it wasn't going to be.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm glad that it was. Like, that's the one thing about this election that was good, was that I didn't have to have somebody sign like a special form to go back and help me vote and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually able to go and vote on my own.
Hey, Wikipedia. A couple people in the chat, Sora and Costin, want to address a couple things. Sora says conspiracy. The lines look long because of social distance requirements. No, that's a given.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these lines, and yeah, people are like 1.5 meters, 2 meters apart.
Yeah.
Or groups of people, family units or whatever, if they're voting together. That I understand. The lines are still long, but I have never, ever in my entire history of being a voting eligible citizen of this country have I ever stood in line to vote. Not once.
I think I've stood in line for like 10 minutes, maybe. Like,
really?
Not.
Again, in the biggest city in all of Canada, every time there's been provincial, municipal, federal elections, I go to the polling station. There might be a couple people ahead of me.
Yeah.
But there's never been what I would consider a lineup of people to vote.
No, I
like you. I'm happy to see people getting out there and voting.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with how long it's seemingly taking to get these people through.
No.
These are things that should have been addressed.
Costin brings up a good point that
that was the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The election should have been way longer, or not way longer, but longer with more advanced polling. Yes.
Yeah, there was what, three advanced polling days?
Something like that.
The September 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Yeah.
So 4 days in 1 week. That was, I mean, just between you and me, BP, we already knew. Chat might not have known. That was a very bad week for me.
Yeah.
It was a very debilitating week for me. So, sure, you know, extenuating circumstance, but it should have been probably 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Usually is.
And
They usually do
and
that.
today's voting day should probably be, today's the 20th. It should have been 20th to 22nd. Should have been 3 days. Keep the polling stations open for a few days. I understand the need for it to be sort of wham bam thank you ma'am kind of thing, because you need the security of the ballots, because we still use paper ballots. That's fine. We still have that security. We still have chain of custody.
Yeah.
These votes could, at the end of the polling days or whenever they're picked up, they can still be picked up and sent to the sorting facilities. The chain of custody is still there, but then the next day you open up again and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Especially, and this is why I think it's a concentrated effort for a certain person to win at the polls, was the condensed form of this during a time where he himself is saying, don't go outside unless you have to.
Yeah.
And now you're saying, well, everybody go outside on this one day.
Go vote, everybody now. Go vote.
Go now. This is your only opportunity.
Yeah.
It's nothing. I'm not saying anything with certainty, but nothing about this is sitting well with me.
No.
I feel queasy at the grand scheme of everything I've been learning and seeing with my own 2 eyes. It's concerning to me.
It very, very concerning. And my friends, you have come to the end of the show, and I wonder, do you think by Canadian Wednesday we'll have the results?
Yeah, probably. If not, that they will be well enough established that we can bring up the numbers and talk about it.
Yeah. Which
should be interesting. I was going to say it should be fun, but again, with everything that's going on, no, it's always fun to, even when I'm pissed off like I am today, it's always fun to chat with you and chat and talk about Canada stuff, because we don't get enough time or coverage to talk about our own politic.
No, we don't.
Politique scene.
So, thank you guys for watching, and be sure to come by my Twitch channel tonight for some Mortal Kombat! Because the King of the Hill, the Blind King of the Hill, is this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's not going to be on my Twitch channel. I'll keep sharing the link to Blind Cito's Twitch channel over the week, so you guys can come and watch. But it's at 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, and the pot that we're playing for is at $190. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. And of course, come back on Wednesday for Canadian Wednesday. And this Saturday, we're gonna be talking about, on the Star Trek stream, our thoughts on which captain came closest to losing their morals, and how they came back from that. So that's going to be our topic on Saturday. So you won't want to miss that. So thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday, and have a great one, guys.
Bye everybody. Thanks for showing up.